It's Andrew, part 3 of this series of videos. What's within reach to help cure a person or help a person with a sick, unwell state of mind? So, we're told a lot about, contact your local mental health provider, doctors, nurses. You probably get on drugs, be seen diagnosed, hospitalised, medicated. What other things can you do? What other things can you do that don't involve pharmacology? Solutions. Methodologies. A method and a logic. What other things can you do? Well, there's some things: getting accurate information, self-care skills, going through a learning process. See, because we need our own minds, you see. You're only going to ever have your mind. You need your mind. You can't survive without your mind. So you need your mind to work as it ought to work and could work with your intelligence. Needs cultivating. The mind, you've got to grow that mind. You need your mind. You don't need anybody really mucking too much with your mind. You don't want to be dumbed down. You need your mind to survive. And so you might need some motivation, goals to get better, like a path of actions that you can and time manage it and get, you need accurate information, you see, about your brain, about your body, about your mind, about factors that can cause you to improve your factors that cause and affect things to happen. So useful information here. Looking beyond drugs for solutions to self-help or treat those who have sick minds or unwell minds. So what helps can you look to beyond drugs? Who uses your mind? What kind of person is behind that mind? How can it be educated and come to know more? How can your mind change? Your mind, brain, soul, spirit? Mind on this, mind off this. The managing of attention. The work of building and fixing minds is the work of building and fixing lives. How can we get the most out of our potential intelligence? Realistically, maximize our lifetime journey. How can we achieve this goal and exercise our free options? Well, we need valid information about treatments and services that don't involve drugs, because in the current medical treatment model, there's a huge missing body of information which I've been trying to share, which I think needs to be given more significance. Right. So sometimes we need to be able to tell people we want to be left alone. Please leave us alone. We prefer not to have you in our lives. We don't think the relationship's right. This is the reason, and I think I've just been speaking about the reasons why, we may as well manage it ourselves. We have our ways, unaided by your medical school training and drug corporations, We have our ways because the relationship has, as it it's losing its relevance. It's incoherent. The logical relevance and significance of the mental health service, its meaning is lost, in my opinion. It's losing its meaning. And they're sticking with the way they want to see things. They need to see things this way. Otherwise the relationship's just not going to work very well, is it? Now there's assumptions here. One of the assumptions is that people with that have been deemed to have a learning disability or a little bit, backward or simple or foolish, the assumption is that they don't have the capacity, the natural learning capacity. They don't have that learning power inside them. It's not, but I believe it actually can be unlocked. That intelligence is there in the form that and because they assume it's not, there's a limit there to that person's intellectual development. They just thought, okay, well, let's just leave it untaught then. Let's just not talk about it. Let's just leave them in an unlearned condition. They're missing something. Let that be. Accept that. But it is missing, and I think that that's not fair, because all people have natural learning powers. It's obvious when we've got more going for us than in the insect kingdom or the birdie kingdom or the fish kingdom. We've got more going for us. Why is mental health managed the way it is? They're quick to give you a pill. They're slow to read you a book. There's a problem with the information. It's ambiguous. What are they not telling you or telling us about it? Are we the vulnerable? Are we involved in a dishonest social contract with tacit agreements? Like it just comes to people said dehumanizing, defamation. There's more to be said about those ideas. There's two sides of the coin. The good side of what the mental health service has achieved, but there is this bad side. We need to know. We need to know about what chemicals are. We need to know about these terms defined in plain talk. How can people get through and heal themselves? Well, they don't even believe that it can be done, but I think it's clear it can be done. Right. What would happen if each of you learned a lot of good stuff and developed an independent system of value to do with thinking, living? I'm a bit tired at the moment. So there's trust issues, there's knowledge differences. I'm talking about the relationships here between you and your family or yourself. I think there's a lack of knowledge. There's a lot of motivation needed and tasks required. A lot of efforts and real work needs to be done. The current issues of mental health, there's conflicting objectives on both sides and coherence. The mental health service has a limited scope of possibilities for helping us. But the main thing is, I think natural growth and development, a natural healing process and growth is what's needed. Okay. So in the systems, you've got different things going on, right? Um, there's there's different ideas about what should be done, different visions and from the different players, whether it's doctors and nurses, clients, very different ideas about a lot of body knowledge of holistic treatment now, and I don't know how that they can honestly cite, oh, these other things don't work. Holistic treatment blimmin' well does work. Just because they can't find a reference for it, it's not real. Oh dear. Radio. What would it look like if the mental health service worked well? Well, I think there would be more people with the clients all the time. It wouldn't just be like appointment times for a quarter of an hour. You'd have quite large chunks of the day where nurses and doctors would talk to each other and learn from each other. I think that there would be a status change there in the relationship. People need to know the facts about their own body, facts about their own nervous system, facts about their own minds, how it gets affected by outside pathways, sensory pathways, facts about their thinking, facts about their brain. Right, they've got to know this stuff if they're going to manage their own lives again. The pills won't do that. So also there's the importance of the networking, the social group. Might be useful if clients could organise structured meetings with people involved who can pitch education, pitch ideas to them, aimed at a good life, a liberal education, beautiful people. They are people that are very different, beautiful people, quirky people, quirky and beautiful. All right, that's all right. We live to a different rhythm of the drum. All right, we might be inconvenient for governments and society. We're just different, and we need to be loved. We're not as strong at making money. Our instincts aren't that strong for achieving certain goals. But we do want to be left alone or participate in our own friendships. We want that freedom to opt in or opt out. The natural grace within us. We want to mould that natural grace and get that self-developed. Okay. Christian mental health treatment. We want to eat for success, exercise for success, act morally for success, have social success, psych healing, mental injury prevention, get wisdom, be happy, attitude encouraged, study success. We want to be resourced. We want to have the tools set up for daily use to help us build those successful habits and cause cessation, stop bad habits. We've got needs that we need for culture, needs to learn. We need to learn to communicate for success. We need friends and family ties to be strengthened. We need to learn time management skills. Because it's a brain complicated brain, all the combinations and chains of these kinds of life educational things, these chains and the links need to be very strong. The input chains, the all the supports need to be there to feed back with us, to help our minds, to help themselves at all times. So that, I mean, okay, there's risks of weaning off drugs. But if we get on the right track, it's better for us to take on these challenges. So list all the main factors that contribute to mental health. Somebody can do this. And make plans to include them in schedules and calendars of daily activities. Somebody can do that. All important topics of general education. Right. We need to work with words, the trivium method. We need to improve our words, less weasel words, better words are needed. Because it's a sort of progress that might be possible that we can make. It requires staying stable, have a good flat home. The alternative is just sinking and sleeping in that numbed ocean of medication for the rest of our lives and staying in ignorance. That's your choice, and people are going to make both choices. Some people aren't going to follow this kind of way out. Some people will. How can you predict if it's going to work out for you coming off medication? You can't. No plan's perfect. But what I would say is make sure you know what you need to know. So all kinds of stress management, all kinds of life skills first. Then there's real hope that you can just wean off slowly and it's going to work. But no plan's perfect. There's risks involved. Sometimes you might be in a situation where it's worth doing. Sometimes not. That takes judgment required. I don't know. Sometimes, because the doctor might say no, but sometimes the doctor's got prejudice and assumptions, and he's making a misjudgment, and that's when you have to go, well, I think I'll be the doctor now. And it's not easy, alright? It's about as far as I go with that one. Conversations. Yeah, we need conversations to reason things out with mental health professionals. Challenge their assumptions about reality. Put forward what could be done, make changes, and what kind of ladder we could use to get out of this, climb a ladder. A ladder to climb, I mean like metaphorically, not literally. I don't mean climb up a real ladder. I mean it's a ladder of life. That there's hope, that we can develop naturally to be who we really are, to be true. Natural ways to grow and learn to change our symptoms, change our psychotic states by our own choices, because we know how it works. I've got to say, if we know how it works, we're able to make the right choices when to choose this and that, whatever, and manage our own states of mind. And it can be done without pills, because it's your own brain, of course, can do this. There's lots of other valid sources of knowledge that could speak to the issue of mental health from the old days, the Greeks, the Romans, the Bible. How arrogant can you be, modern scientists and chemists, and those people didn't have more brains than you do? They probably did. So we need proper plans for if you're going to withdraw step by step from medication, reducing and weaning, and discontinuing medication drugs. There needs to be a lot of knowledge about it, and I don't think that knowledge seems to be put out very much. Or to me, it seems, because I have done this, and I got off those medications about 9 years ago now. It can be done by 12-month, so annual reductions, sometimes 6-month reductions, only a little bit, over a number of years. Allow half a year or a year for your brain cells, your system to adapt to it, and do this for 3 years, 5 years, depends where you're at. Gradual waning off. Then you might not have the kind of crazy crash that people have when they go just take themselves off it. If there isn't new remedies, new thinking figured out, you can have new plans. New things are possible. Can focus on things, aspects. There's potential there for healing, curing, by a mixed, methodical approaches and practices, focusing in the right areas. So just take different points of view. For example, a doctor, he's got his own point of view. A nurse has got their own point of view, and you've got your own point of view. They think this has caused something. You think that's caused it. This is their idea of what to do. This is your idea of what to do. The different people have. This is another problem with the relationships. The points of view differ. What the problem is. What the diagnosis, what the treatment is, prognosis. The doctors come with assumptions. You've got your own assumptions. Okay, teaching in mental health treatment, relevant subjects, self-development, communication, medicine, diet, critical thinking, self-awareness of your feelings and needs. Any kind of subjects might be useful. Christian ministries, outreaches, faith groups, because the Christian faith ministers a great deal to mental conditions. Like on the internet, you've got YouTube videos, deliverance videos, prayer and worship, casting out demon ministries. Because this is actually what we're dealing with, and I'll let you know right now. Some of the symptoms of some of the mental illnesses are not brain. They're not from the brain going wrong. It's the spiritual world. Some of those symptoms of demonic entities talking to people, annoying people. That's not a psychiatric problem. I mean, it is. It's a problem of the soul. It is a psych problem. Psyche is soul, but it's a spiritual thing. Needs spiritual help. To deal with drugs won't deal with that very well. Other tools we can use. Doctors need to change their training. Doctors and nurses could be more of a nurturing teacher. Address neglected needs. Provide community centre where people can go, opt in or out. Tools, desktop computers, books. Determine what's not really helpful, what does help. See, that's the thing. What's helpful often for the doctor and nurse is not helpful for the client. What's helpful for the client is not helpful for the doctor and nurse. So the relationship thing again is it's a bit buggered. It's not harmonising. All right. The life, the madness, management. So what are the things that actually made me get better? What are the things that actually make you get better? How often do these changes need to be made more frequently to, what is neglect when some of these things don't get done? What happens when someone stops being willing, when what is needed is missing, when small things don't get fixed, they turn into bigger problems. When a big mental illness strikes a man, you need to move a small hill with a shovel. It won't be done by Christmas, even several Christmases, maybe never. But some people are getting over it, and they can help others to shovel the hill, someone else's hill, and help them get better. That's the base of peer support, that kind of idea. So how much do drugs impair or cause impediment to the person's learning ability and memory? If they're causing a lot, this is a problem. How are you going to get better if your memory and learning is buggered up because of the medicine? Anyway, that knowledge needs to be spelt out, cited. What other factors cause impairment of learning and memory? Well, here's head injuries. Okay, it's a wider area. Stress, money problems, head injuries, family relationships, your environment if it's dirty, or lack of wisdom and knowledge, lack of exercise, lack of study. Lots of these are the kind of long list of causal factors that I don't know why they don't just list them and say this is the cause of your illness. It's actually a whole list of things, and then you can start to work on those things to fix it up, to sew it up better. Sew up the mind. If all the stitches fell out of your mind, then you sew the thing back up again. But drugs won't do that alone. Learn to address the problems. You need your mind working in good order to survive. Actions towards your best interest needed. Diagnosis, guiding policy and actions. Needs all filling in that one. Each day, a person, a client, has many thoughts and many choices. How can people who want to help and themselves make higher quality choices which will result in a better result, and it'll help them think better? Next week, what can you actually do to improve that? It's about the information for their minds. What can you teach them that you can use to teach them so that will help their behaviour improve? That determines how well their lives are going to run and play out in the long run of their course. How can drugs alone do that? They can't. Useful information, right, about mental health. So I think the nurses need retraining. What needs to be done, the retraining of areas in the brain with devices and deficits and defects. You need to retrain these parts of the brain, get behind the veil and the mask, find out what this is all about, what's accurate, what's not, because what's it all about? Symptom control, or do you want to go beyond that and actually do some repair? And how can you do that in the situation of the meetings and interviews with their rules and the way they do things? Several areas of emptiness, or the several areas of opportunity to add valuable, missing, helpful things into this vacuum that can add up and improve a person's headspace over a long time. It could be better if these needs were met, if that internal mind space where a person thinks for growing and learning, wisdom to be filled. Stack it up, stock up your mind, use the moments of the daytime of your day. These moments are valuable, they're sacred moments where useful things come into your mind and they're helping your mental health. I think this is like the 3rd video I've done now. Well, I'll stop here. I might have to do a 4th one.